Hey guys, welcome back to the 12 GMT podcast. It is currently 3:42 GMT and I am here once again with Sam.
Hi Gabe, how you doing?
Good. Yeah, doing
Good.
well.
Sweet. So, I don't know what we're gonna chat about today. This is a bit of a last minute recording, which does occasionally happen because we've had busy weekends. But I've got some new inventory in. I think you're looking to get more inventory, Gabe, so we can talk about that. And we were going to talk about, I guess, how we source and wholesaling and that sort of side of the business. Um, Obviously, we can't tell everyone where we get our watches from,
Right.
because that would destroy the business, and that's all the work we do. Um, but you will start with new stock because that's shiny and fun, and will probably be in the thumbnail.
Yes,
Um,
I agree. I mean, you got some
yes,
you got some great pieces to show, so
yeah, this was a good week. I have a contact in London who sold me. Oh, he actually sold me three of the watches here today. So um, I guess we'll start chronologically in what I got. So I got this. It's a little IWC dress watch with really nice Breguet numerals, very thin. It actually doesn't look that thin, but it is like maybe 7 mil thin. It's a 33 millimeter case, very comfy, very nice design, really great condition. So I mean, I'm a sucker for nice dress watches, and this is one of the nicest ones I've ever sold.
is that
So
7 millimeters thick with the crystal? It's got to
I
be,
can
right?
check. I think so.
Because if
Um,
if it is with the crystal, then that is a very thin watch because 7
okay, so it's
millimeter
7.9 millimeter with the crystal. If I go to the, oh, I don't know. Yeah, the crystal is probably about 1.5 mil. So yeah, very thin piece.
Yeah.
All the brushing's intact, which is really nice to see, and then the case back's polished, which is pretty cool. It's on a nice like Hallway leather strap. I'm very happy with it. Um, I just got that back from my watchmaker because it needed new crystal, but yeah, really cool piece. Um, yeah, let's do this one next. And then I have a WMT Seawolf, which is a homage watch, obviously. And this one's obviously based on the Blancpain 50 Fathoms. It's just a really cool piece. I don't know what. It's kind of a sandblasted. It's kind of a sandblasted-ish case. Like it's definitely satin.
Great.
I don't know how they treat these. I haven't really researched into it. But a very cool piece, and I have it's full set. So this is comes with a nice box. I'm a fan of this, like a little box like that with kind of vintage styling,
One has a spring
kind
bar
of
tool
pair.
in there as well.
Yeah, spring bar tool, and then this is an
Yeah.
extra spring bar, which is cool. It has a little pull tab broken out. Anyway, has a little puller thing, so you can pull this tube out. So it's pretty cool. It's nicely presented. Um,
And that's a good piece for somebody who wants something similar to the Blancpain, but obviously this is,
a lot more budget friendly.
yeah, entry level,
Yeah,
quote unquote, entry level
entry
watch.
level.
Still,
Yeah,
WMD makes some great stuff.
yeah, and they use Mayota 9000 movements, 9000 series movements, so pretty good. And I mean, a very practical tool watch. Has a really nice screw down crown, I've noticed. Um, yeah, something a bit interesting for me. I'm generally not a homage watch dealer or guy in general, but I really like this one. It has cool ranger hands. I think the faux patina is done well. I don't think it's overbearing. I think it just matches, especially on this NATO it's on, because it's on like a sand NATO. It's pretty cool. Um, so yeah, pretty cool. It's got white hands. Um, it's a bit big for me personally, but I could definitely see a lot of people liking it.
It'll probably fit a lot of
Um,
people. It's a really good intermediate size, especially for a dive watch.
yeah, it's 40 or 41 mil. I think I measured it at 40.8 or something. So yeah, and then we have something a little different. Is this? Let's get the light here. This is a Rado Black Colt. I have three of these in stock. So I have two with this really interesting grey dial. This one has an incorrect handset, so it's going to be cheaper. And then all of them actually have this crest on it. I'll actually have to move the hands. And this is the crest of an insurance company, which is a bit different. It's
Oh,
an
you
insurance
found.
company in Egypt.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
you
it
found
was
a
the.
third.
Oh yeah. It's the Al Sharf Insurance Company. Two of these have the grey dial, which is a really interesting texture. And then the third has like a vignette brown kind of dial. It's pretty interesting. It's nearly tropical, but I don't exactly know what to call it. But that one's still with my watchmaker. And then finally, probably the highlight. I guess we'll probably put this in the thumbnail. This is a Dirty Dozen watch. This is a SEMA. Actually, show the case back here. It's just been serviced. It's really nice. It's probably going to be, well, actually, I've checked Chrono24 and I'm going to price it as the cheapest in the UK. So it's going to be about £1,900, maybe a little less. I'll see. I'm going to look at some eBay prices. All the correct engravings, thick spring bar. It's a little bit tropical, which is nice. Let me just clean this off. Yeah, it's a little bit tropical, which is cool. All the loom's really great. And then it's a surprisingly chunky watch. It's 38 mil and wears pretty big,
You have a
which is
great.
pretty cool.
You have a great example of a Dirty Dozen watch.
Yeah, I was very happy to get this.
Yeah,
I've
there's not a
handled a
lot.
few, but I've never owned one.
Yeah, there's not a lot that are in. I mean, it's obviously not in like new old stock
No.
condition, but for a Dirty Dozen watch, that's as close as you're gonna get right there. You know.
Yeah, there's some kind of light scratches on the side. It's a steel case, so it's not like. I believe some were chrome. I've definitely seen some chromed cases. So this one's obviously held up better than those will. We were talking before the show about kind of production quantities. And SEMA is one of the more heavily produced ones, but it's still less produced than Vertex and Omega, which made the numbers aren't really sure, but I think Omega they know they made 25,000, and then Vertex I believe is an estimate, and SEMA they estimated 20,000, and then some of the really rare ones have made less than 5,000. So, I mean, I always encourage people to read up on this type of watch because it's really interesting, and I think you appreciate them more. Because it looks cool, but I think without the history, you should really. Well, I couldn't justify buying one without knowing the history behind it. I couldn't just buy it because it looks cool.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but that's just me as a collector. I did consider taking this into my personal collection because my. Do I have it here? Oh yeah, I do. Obviously, my CWC G10 is my like field military watch, etc., etc. And these are obviously you can see kind of the lineage of British military watches, right?
Right.
Um, but obviously, this has a broad arrow on the dial. This has a broad arrow just case back. Um, one's manual, one's quartz. So I was thinking about it, but I think the CWC fits me better, and obviously is a lot more budget friendly. So I think I'm gonna buy a nice dive watch next. I think that's my next goal.
What do you think? Like,
I don't know. Something fairly small. I was considering maybe an interesting skin diver. Because I mean, I have my SKX for swimming. I'm not going to get rid of it.
right.
But I want something like dive style, even. I don't really care about the waterproofness. So maybe a vintage skin diver. I'll probably have it pressure tested anyway, but not as my main dive watch, just as like a dive style piece which I can wear and kind of beat up a bit more.
Have you ever
Because I am kind of good.
have you ever seen the mini Tudor sub in person? Because I feel like that'd be decent for you.
I think I've seen the lollipop one in person. Yeah, which is where do you know what a lollipop hand is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the audience, it's when if you think of the Mercedes hand has metal in kind of the circle on the hour hand, there's no metal kind of it's like a hippie symbol, right? Like the peace
Mm-hmm.
sign. There's none of that. It's just a circle. Looks like a lollipop. And I think they only made those for 1 year, so I would be inclined to get one of those because it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
I know the Tudor subs are the same 40 millimeter case that the Submariners are, obviously, but the mini subs I believe are 37.
yeah, I've heard 36 and 37. I don't know what it actually is.
But you can get
It
those on
probably
a Jubilee, or you could get them. I think they made most of them on Jubilee. I could be totally wrong, but it's just what I've seen online. It also
Definitely seen them on
says
Jubilee.
I think you can get them on Oyster as well, but I think it says like mini sub on the dial, which is honestly pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't know how those would wear though, because have you tried on the 37mm Yachtmaster?
Yeah, I love it.
I think it's weirdly proportioned.
Really.
Like yeah, I've tried one on and I was like, this just looks like a a smaller Rolex, yeah. But it was like,
Right.
I don't know, it just looked wrong to me. I was like, it's weird.
My favorite Rolex that I've ever tried on was the 40 millimeter Yachtmaster on the Oyster Flex. So it was the most comfortable Rolex I've ever tried on. They really
Yeah, I
nailed
think
the
you
Oyster
mentioned
Flex.
they had salmon dial mini subs. That's
Yeah.
really
Oh
cool
yeah.
with a
Oh yeah.
steel bezel. Yeah, and the two-tone. Oh, the two-tone ones are kind of affordable too. Hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a route I could go down. Um, Oyster Date mini sub. There's so many, which I guess shouldn't be a surprise. I guess they were really popular, but yeah.
If anyone can hear it, please
Ah,
excuse the music. I hear
I,
blaring
I
music all
can't
of a
hear it.
sudden. So
Nice. Uh, I think I'd be inclined to go for like a steel bezel one, but I guess they're newer. I love steel
right.
bezel insets. Oh, this one's 1999. Could get a birth year one. That'd be
You could.
cool.
That would be cool. That's a cool birth year watch. And that's not really something that you need to worry about value because if you like say the price is inflated right now, I'm not sure what they're at. That's
Oh,
that's one of
like
those
3,000
watches.
US dollars
Yeah.
for mini subs. They're not bad at all.
I have a feeling that
Um,
they produced so many of those that and not many people want a mini sub because of the size because they'd rather have a Submariner case Tudor, right?
yeah, I agree.
Because like for me, when I was looking at mini subs, and I really wanted a Tudor sub with snowflake hands because
Yeah,
and I was looking at those before they went crazy in price and now those some of them are more expensive than Submariners of the same year.
this one has a Rolex crown and a Rolex bracelet.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess they were still using, yeah, so they would have been using Rolex parts for some of these, but then some of the later ones were.
Right.
Very interesting piece though.
Yeah, I like those.
Rolex crown Tudor bracelet, yeah. Oh, this one's reserved. Yeah, I was gonna say this is a good one. Um, anyway, what's kind of the next thing you want to chat about? Sourcing? Should we go
Yeah.
through that?
So,
I've got loud cars too. Sorry.
yeah, I guess it's just we never record this time of day so we don't know about the noises.
Yeah,
So,
normally it's at night and it's nice and quiet.
yeah. So, Sam actually he had a guy reach out or you reached out, I'm not sure, and
I've known him for a while, but yeah, he reached out and said, "Hey, I have this," and I was like, "Okay, cool."
yeah, and he's
But
got
yeah,
a
go
lot.
ahead.
I'd say it's what, 12 pieces? 11 or 12
He
pieces?
has 12 pieces and he gets more in every month. So yeah,
Yeah, and he's got 12 and Sam got a PDF from him with a short description and price on each watch. They're great. He does his own servicing. Um I mean, there's not really much to complain about and
yeah,
maybe
it's a
yeah,
pretty ideal situation if you can source. I mean, in bulk, like not many people are buying 12. These are Seikos, but the Seikos and slightly different vintage stuff, right?
right.
Not many people are like in the market to buy that many pieces at once, and obviously it's easier for him to sell in bulk. Um, so naturally, he likes to sell to small dealers like us. I was really keen on taking it, but the shipping costs were pretty high.
Yeah.
So hand off to Gabe as a favor, and
Yeah,
I
I
think you
mean,
should go for him. Just it'd be good inventory, good. It's a lot of volume. Um,
that's exactly my
Definitely
idea.
consider it.
I mean, 12 watches, they're all really I mean, looking at the photos, they're great condition. He said there's maybe one that was previously polished by not him, but it's still it doesn't look like it's over polished. You know, they're great little Seiko 5s and such that I mean, they're not expensive and they're good entry level pieces, but at least someone can buy something, you know?
Yeah, and some of them are the 17 jewel movement manual wind ones, which I really like personally. I actually have some here, which I'm gonna wholesale to a guy. I have a lot more inventory than Gabe. I think maybe I have a dozen watches in stock, but I have a dozen watches, and I'm mostly focusing on stuff between the kind of 300 and 1,000 pound price range. Obviously, there's stuff like this SEMA and this Tudor, which are above that. But they're kind of outliers. Like my main, and this IWC is above that actually. Oh no, it's about 1,000. I'm still pricing that out, but that's kind of where I'm happiest and where I have the most clients, I guess.
Hmm.
But I think for getting new clients and like especially selling on Instagram, things like those Seikos are really popular because people are like, they can just like the dial and be like, I can drop £100 because I like that dial, or whatever you price at 100, 120. Um, and I think you've got pretty fair profit margins there you can make. Um, they would have been so good to sell on eBay, but eBay has upped its fees ridiculously, and that'll just cost too much.
Yeah, I know it's
Sucks.
it's not at that point with this stock. It's not really about profit margins. It's more or less about having stock that people can buy and recognize that I'm actually getting sales, right?
Yeah, and it's really good for like generating just turnover and cash flow because like some of these bigger watches might sit with me for a few months, maybe 6 months, worst case scenario. Um, and that's kind of like over £1,000 is a lot to have tied up in one watch, especially because my inventory is currently hovering at just about 10K mark. So like 10% of all my business's cash is in one watch, and there might be good margins on it, but I don't want to just sit on it for 6 months.
Right.
So in that case, that's when I consider wholesaling stuff because I'm like, oh, I really like all my watches inventory. I think are good watches. I just don't touch stuff if I think it's going to be mediocre or not good. Or I obviously buy stuff, service it, and then make it better, or I
Hmm.
send it for servicing. I'm not a watchmaker. Um, but if I get something and it just can't be fixed, like say it's a chrome case that's really messed up, say the dial's badly damaged, I'm just not gonna touch it. I'll either send it back to who I bought it from or just not buy it in the first place. Ideally, not buy it in the first place. Um, so I guess whenever I'm wholesaling to other dealers, they know that I have good inventory and I'm not gonna like try to pass something subpar on them. Um, yeah, and I generally wholesale like either the really cheap stuff where it doesn't make sense to me to sell them individually because listing takes a lot of time, posting takes a lot of time. It's way easier if I can just send a dealer, especially a smaller dealer, like just a box of stuff and be like, here's a load of inventory. Um, and that can help people get started in the business. That can help. It helps me clear out stock and clear out like my watch boxes and make sure I have room for new inventory.
Right.
And it makes sure the website's not too cluttered. It's just my selection of like my favorite vintage watches that I want to sell. It's not like I'm wholesaling stuff that sucks. I'm wholesaling stuff that's just not my key demographic, I guess. I'm
Hmm.
mostly vintage dress watches, to be honest. Um,
Yeah, I would definitely like to buy that lot. And I would have by now for who knows, I guess close to a month and a half now, maybe even longer. 2 months. For 2 months I would have been able to buy stock. I would have been comfortable buying stock and getting watches and all that, but since I'm in this situation that I still can't talk about,
yeah,
it's kind of deterred me from really trying to buy or sell anything at all because I want to wait until I can figure this situation out. And I, I shouldn't be waiting because it could be another 6 months until everything's finished up. And even after it's finished up, I might still not even be able to talk about it for who knows how long, which is fine.
yeah,
But when you sent me that, I was kind of like, I think I need to just go ahead and buy some stock and see what I can do with it because it's like I'm just giving myself excuses on why I'm not buying anything because something bad's going on, but that can't stop. Like, I mean, if I was selling watches as my only form of income, which I'm not right now, then if I just stopped because something happened, like that's me, that's my rent money, that's my food, that's everything. So I can't really just be
yeah,
stopping just because I have to learn my lesson.
yeah. It's unfortunate, but I think those, I mean, they're pretty affordable watches. Um, and I think you're gonna negotiate for the whole lot, aren't you? I think it'd just be a good way to get some cash moving and get some even get customer reviews, get your name out there.
Yep.
Maybe think about your branding more while you do it. And I think when I started like telling myself I was a watch dealer, I was like, okay, now I need to go and buy more stock, not just buy stuff I like, have to buy stuff I think I can sell. I have to commit the money to it, and not I don't think about it as like cash anymore. I just think about it as like cash in the bank is a problem because it means it's not earning me any money.
Right.
So it's like I really want to have some money left over to pay my watchmaker with, and the rest being watches. I don't want cash sat in the bank really. Doesn't
Yeah.
do anything for me.
I'm the same way.
Um, yeah, I actually have a load of Seikos. I was gonna offer them to you, but I don't think like the postage would be worth it.
Right.
So it's like some of these are on really cool bracelets too, but this is just the stuff I have set aside that I'm gonna wholesale out. Um, Purely because it's not the top. Well, not even the top. Just it's nice stuff. I don't know. It just wouldn't really be worth my time to process it all and sell it all because I'm focused on selling the bigger watches. And nearly more importantly, I'm trying to sell consignment pieces. So if I'm like swamping my website with like a load of budget friendly pieces, some of my stuff is still budget friendly, but you know, the really low end stuff,
Right.
and then I have like high end consignment watches. I'm way more focused on selling the high end consignment watches, and those budget pieces will probably just sit because I won't be able to promote them. So it's better they go to a smaller dealer who can focus on them. Um, and then what I did recently, I had two Seikos, both Saab 033s, I
Yep.
think.
Yeah.
Is that the white dial? Yeah.
Or
So
you have a white
both,
dial or black
yeah,
dial?
the cream dial, or is that 035?
035. I thought you had a black.
035.
Did you have two whites or a black and a white?
I had two whites. I had a black one last year.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
but I knew a dealer who specializes in, he's called OT Watches, kind of specializes in modern Seiko 5s, mostly SKXs, I think. And I've known him for a while, so I trust him pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, I have two Seiko Saabs. Do you want to sell them? And he was like, yeah, how much are you looking for? Da, da, da. And I was like, well, what I'll do is I'll send them to you, and then you can have 3 months to pay me back. So as soon as they sell, he'll pay me. But if he struggles to sell them, then after 3 months, he'll pay me an agreed price. Um, which I guess is kind of like consignment, but it's not. It's just I'm giving him some advance time to pay for the goods,
Right.
and it doesn't really matter to me. I did post the Seikos, but I got some inquiries, and I was just like, this isn't really my key target market, I guess. Um, and I was like, okay, I'll stick to, I guess, vintage stuff. And he was like, hey, if I have vintage stuff, can I hand it off to you? And I was like, absolutely. Next time I have a modern Seiko, I'll hand it off to you as well. And I actually just, I bought an Orient Bambino.
Right. Yeah.
I got it really cheap off a guy on Instagram, and I was like, hey, can you just send it to this guy instead? So I just immediately texted him and said, hey, I need this amount of money for this watch, so I'm going to make a small profit on it. And I don't even have to see the watch, it's going straight to him. Um, so that's a pretty ideal situation and pretty good for like keeping the cash moving.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, that's a really good strategy. I've never really heard of. I mean, it kind of makes sense. There's a lot of guys like when you watch these huge gray market dudes, like these guys that are flipping RM and yellow gold Rolex and all this crazy stuff. A lot of guys, the dude that was in that controversy that uploads on YouTube, the dude in Austin,
Oh,
Texas,
the
timepiece gentleman.
yeah, Timepiece Gentleman and Roman Strath and Nico will all do that to each other.
Yeah, because it
Um,
seems like timepiece gentleman. I can't remember his actual name, but he seems to do a lot of
Anthony,
modern. Anthony, yeah.
Anthony and Marco, yeah.
He seems to do, or at least they seem to do a lot of modern Rolex. They rarely branch out. Like they have other stuff in stock, but like mostly what you see is like the lowest they'll go on Rolex is date justs.
They have
And
cheaters too. I've noticed that. I do watch them. I know the controversy annoyed some people, but I enjoy the content. I don't really care. It did apparently panic some, watch dealers clients, like other watch dealers, that we were all going to disappear and steal everyone's money. But I mean, actually, some of my clients did talk to me about it and just say, hey, like especially ones I'm good friends with, said, hey, you saw this, right? And I was like, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know what's going on, but and all the speculation was really wild and really crazy. And I was like, it's probably not as crazy as people think. You know, it's Occam's razor, right? It's probably the most sensible thing that's happened.
Yeah, the simplest answer is like whatever. But
Exactly.
yeah, that was definitely an interesting situation. But yeah, those guys all the time are swapping watches between each other, especially like when it comes to Nico and his company. You know, there's stuff that he's really good at, and there's stuff that he's probably less comfortable with doing. And he definitely
Yeah.
seems to be one of those modern Rolex guys, but also he's mostly a modern guy, right? So these guys are like swapping modern between everyone. So like if it ever gets to the point where you and I are both dealing in modern Patek, Rolex, whatever, that's a dream. But it ever gets to that point, you know, you've got a guy that needs this Rolex next week, and I have one, so you call me up. I'm like, yeah, I got you. You know, like that's the goal. It's
That.
like you've got your
Yeah.
guys, I've got my guys, and if anyone needs something, all we have to do is like send a text and be like, yeah, I'll ship it if you can wire right now. Like, let's do it. You know?
Yeah. The trust system and being able to like give people 3 months to pay, a month to pay, even a week to pay can really help each other out. Um, and I'm really glad that I started doing that with this guy because he's a little bit younger than me, um, and pretty ambitious and pretty good at what he does. Like he's sold on eBay for a few years now, and I think at one point he was selling 2 watches a day, like 2 Seikos a day. And I was like, okay, kid knows what he's doing. He's built up a lot of inventory, and I was like, hey, do you have Saab right now? Do you need some? And he was like, I can definitely sell them. They normally go quick. I was like, great. I just next day I posted them. You know, it's kind of the dream. It's what you want to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, all right, so should we do a little quick wrist check?
Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
I
So I'm. I know you go ahead. Go.
I've actually been timing the podcast with this. Feels good.
Nice.
It's actually useful. It's
It's a
the
practical use. Yeah.
yeah, it's that 3861 Speedmaster. I still have it on the Bark and Jack NATO, which still shout out Adrian. His straps are great. You can't go wrong. Good price. And they say this thing is a strap monster, and I've got I don't know 4 or 5 NATOs, 20 mil NATOs that fit it, and on every one I'm just blown away. I'm like, yep,
Yeah.
this watch works on everything. It's awesome.
I'm really sad Adrian doesn't make 19 mil NATOs because I need them for my Rolex and for my Tudor. But I'm wearing. Can you see that well? My
Yep.
Rolex date 15,000. So it's the quick set 34mm date. It's not a date just. Everyone calls it date just. There's a difference. Roman numeral white dial. Pretty interesting. It's yeah. You don't see many of these, and it's very cool. I like having one.
First of all, white dial date, very cool.
Yeah.
And then you have the small Roman numerals, but it's not too intrusive. That is just like
It is. It's a clustered dial, but I still like how it works and looks, and yeah, I don't know. It doesn't bother me. My mum saw it when I went home for Christmas, and she teased me for owning a Rolex, which was very much fair. And then she went, "Oh, the dial's a bit clustered," and I was like, "Yeah," because she likes really clean, simple stuff. I was like, "Yeah, it's probably not your taste. That's fair enough." Um, but for me, on an oyster bracelet, which is kind of the main reason I wanted a Rolex, um, I'm a brand guy too. I won't even lie about that. I love Tudor. I kind of like Rolex. They annoy us sometimes. I like RWC. Um, I like Baltic now. Baltic's been. I was chatting to my dad about Baltic. He was pretty interested in their dive watches, and their GMT is really cool.
mm-hmm.
Um, and obviously, I have a Baltic, so I showed him mine, and when he was pretty impressed with the dial and the movement and all that sort of stuff. Also, Breguet numerals. This is
Yeah.
really hard to show because it's dark like this, and that's too bright. But yeah, that's a MR01, so micro rotor.
Still such a
Um,
great piece. I mean,
yeah,
you can dress it up, you can dress it down. Like
Yeah, it's definitely more informal than this brown strap, but I'm happy to have it in my personal collection. It's kind of a yeah, it's an informal dress watch kind of thing because stuff like my Tudor is a bit more formal, I guess. Uh, I guess it's the throw up, but yeah,
Yeah.
they're
I'm
interesting.
I'm tempted to sell the Speedmaster so I can buy some more stock. But I mean,
Yeah,
I wear it. The thing is, like, it's not like it just sits there and gets no wrist time because it's pretty much equal wrist time between my Grand Seiko and the Speedmaster, which is cool. You know, um, I think the reason I stopped wearing the Black Bay 58 Blue so much is because I had a 200-meter water resistant Grand Seiko in blue, and I had a 200-meter water resistant Tudor in blue. And so I was sort of stuck on which blue watch do I wear every day. And so I was wearing the Grand Seiko because, I like both of them. I was wearing that one and I kind of just like had the Tudor sitting there not doing much,
hmm
which is like all right, but I got bored and I'm wondering if I'm going to get bored of this. It seems to be a really good like storytelling piece for people who don't know watches because like last night
yeah,
I went on a double date with Savannah and her friend, and her friend knows that I like am into watches, and she was like, "What are you wearing?" And I told her, I like showed it to her. I was like, "This is the Speedmaster." I was like, "It's the first watch on the moon. It's the only watch approved for like space travel or spacewalks by NASA." And they were like, "Really? Like, holy cow, that's so cool." And I like showed them the case back and everything, and they just like it's one of those pieces that it's like really cool to talk about. And I was like, Neil Armstrong wore one. The design has barely changed since the 60s. They're like, "That's insane." And I'm like, "Yeah, watches are cool, dude."
yeah. It definitely has gotten a lot of people into watches, I reckon. Like a lot of guys will see one, and they have really good like window displays, don't they? They have like astronauts and stuff.
Yeah.
They really, I mean, it's marketing spiel at this point, but they really push it home, and I think they do it well. And if that's your thing, then fair enough. Um,
And if you're a watch dude and all of a sudden you see this 2021 release of a revamped Speedmaster, and for me, after doing research on I think it's the 1861 is the Speedmaster right before this, and
Sounds right. Yeah.
that movement was like kind of rough. Like it was a workhorse movement, but it was kind of just like rough around the edges. The accuracy wasn't there. And then all of a sudden, this one, their big thing is MEDOS certification, and that I was just like, that sounds nice because I'm so used to my Grand Seiko being plus or minus one
True.
second a month, So
I'm probably so much more forgiving on the timing of my watches than you, because like most of mine don't have hacking. They just kind of get set and worn for like a day, and unless it's really running wrong, um, I don't notice if they're like probably wouldn't notice like 2 minutes off. Um, for business, my watchmaker times all the watches, so I don't have to worry about it. He has like a Ferris wheel, and they rotate as they get timed.
right.
So like nice fancy kit. Um, so yeah, as long as it's within spec, he tells me it's fine. And then if it's out of spec, he'll say we might need to adjust it or demagnetize it or service it. So I mean, he makes my life a lot easier in that regard.
Yeah, have a I got my first luxury watch was the Grand Seiko Spring Drive, right? So now whenever I
Good
like,
choice.
yeah, but I think I spoiled myself. Like we've talked about this before, but I got the
Probably.
Tudor and whatever the Tudor's 34-ish $100, so it was like half the price of the Grand Seiko, I guess. But there was dust specks under the dial of mine, and I was like,
hmm
this is a multi-thousand-dollar watch, and it has dust under the dial.
Yeah.
And the Grand Seiko is just literally perfect. Like I've not found anything wrong with it yet, even
Yeah.
like with the macro lens as close as I can get. There's just nothing wrong. And this costs more than the Grand Seiko, and I have found a flaw on the dial.
Oh, dear. Yeah. It's cool to have something. Well, I guess your Grand Seiko has Power Reserve GMT. Is that
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you actually have like a pretty complicated collection. All my stuff is like time only, day date, maybe. Like, yeah, I have a small seconds. Offset small seconds is cool,
Yes. Very cool.
but Yeah, everything's time only, date, pretty
Well,
practical.
and you said your mom likes she likes non-busy dials. Doesn't she have a two-handed reverso?
Yeah, she has a dual face reverso.
Right.
Um, so in fairness, both dials are very clean. There just happen to be two. Um, she has the pretty classic white Roman numeral. Is it white Romans?
I think it's is it
Uh,
Roman or is it just simple?
it might be sticks. I can check.
Well, I know it's
And
on
then
your
the other
Instagram.
side is kind of the like dress watch side, or like the she flips it over when she's going to dinner. Oh, it's Arabic numerals, so it's
Oh,
white
okay.
Arabics, and then the other side is black. To find it. Oh, the other side is like a smaller circle dial, with just 12 and 6. But then it has like a
Oh,
diamond bezel.
I see that.
So yeah, it's a pretty great piece. That was a great story. Yeah, maybe edit it to put it on screen. Um,
It's a really
yeah,
good
we should
looking
edit that
ladies
in because
piece.
it's a really great piece. And I can like on the white dial side, I wear it and it's really nice. But I don't get to borrow it too often. Um, yeah, so we were just like shopping in Birmingham, and Dad and I wanted to go look at watches because my dad likes watches. And my mum had kind of said, "Hey, maybe I want a nice watch." So we took her watch shopping, and they gave her champagne, which is a way to my mom's heart. Um, and they set us down in the boutique. It was quite a nice experience. Um, and she genuinely just picked out a JLC Duoface. She was so ginger trying to flip because the mechanism's kind of it is smooth, but it takes a little bit of force to just push it out.
Right.
Um, so she was really like gingerly trying to do that, and I was like, look, you can it's not gonna break. Look, I just like flipped it a few times, like it's totally fine. This is stupidly well made. Um, she doesn't love diamonds, so the fact that the diamonds would be hidden most of the time was great. Um, and obviously she appreciates classic design, and I'm very proud of her because that's an awesome watch. Um, yeah.
Yeah. I can sort of compete. I got my mom a baby G-Shock. So, it's fun.
Honestly, my mum was pretty rough with like she had like kind of fashion watchy stuff. Um, what's the Swiss Railway watch? Mondane? I think it's
Not sure.
Mondane, right? She had one of those. We'll put a picture up, which is like a classic design and stuff. But she just had like the basic quartz version. Um, so when she like went for a JLC reverse, it was obviously like a massive upgrade. And then for daily wear, we got her or my dad got her a Bremont Solo 34mm. So that's on a bracelet. It's a very clean dial. Um, and I think it has like Bremont's propeller hands, so they're kind of like
Hmm. Those are cool.
similar to leaf hands. They're very cool.
Your dad
Um,
likes Bremont a lot, huh?
yeah, his dad was a pilot in the RAF, so I think he kind of likes their angle and their like military connections and whatnot. To be fair, he has an MB2, a white dial, and it's a really good looking piece. It's like you won't find that really anywhere else in the watch industry. Um, I think it's internal rotating bezel. It's not the GMT version; it's just the time only, but it's still a really cool kind of dual crown sports watch.
You had posted it maybe on your story or something
I
with a
I
NATO strap,
posted it recently on a new NATO strap. Yeah,
and it looked, oh my gosh, looks so good on that.
yeah, it's a cool piece. And the second hand has the ejector seat loop, which is pretty cool because Martin Baker is the company that makes the ejector seats for. Actually, I think they're only one of the only companies that makes ejector seats, but they definitely make the ejector seats for the British military
Well,
users.
do you remember that Bremont that's super limited because the only people that are given the watch or the only people that can buy the watch are people that test ejector seats.
Yeah, or have used an ejector seat, I think, in real
Yeah,
life. Like they've
right.
had to use one to bail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is just so cool to me. It's one of my favorites. When I like was reading about this watch, I was like I got to have one of these cuz
Then you gotta go and checked.
there's only well you can get them for ridiculous crazy money. aftermarket,
Yeah,
but oh my gosh. And it's one of the coolest looking that they have too because it has all the info about it. It references the ejector seats quite a lot. Now imagine like in the RAF
if
for some reason you have to eject and then your prize is a Bremont. Very cool.
yeah, yeah, and they've made like squadron exclusives and stuff, which I've seen a few, and they're pretty cool. Um, yeah, I like that they're still willing to make custom watches and stuff like that. Like Tudor used to do and Rolex used to do. Well, I guess Tudor still does. Actually, I don't know. You've seen the Ed Sheeran Divide Tudor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that was custom done aftermarket or was done through Tudor. To be honest,
I think that was a
um,
Tudor watch, like through Tudor.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I
think he
would
made like
definitely
a couple of hundred, so it was for like everyone who worked on that tour.
right.
So I think there were a fair few for a custom run. So I think it would have had to be done through Tudor logistically, or they would just buy like every Black Bay in the continental US or something. Um, but yeah,
Just like who was it that recently Keanu Reeves gave everybody that worked like I guess all of his
it was his stunt team, I think.
yeah, his stunt team. They all got
Yeah,
Submariners with an engraving on the back, I believe. Very
yeah,
cool.
that was cool. Yeah.
That photo floated around Instagram for a while and like even my mom sent it to me and she was like, "Look at this." And I was like, "Yeah, I saw this." I was like, "Keanu's great." He was like, "What do you
Yeah.
expect?"
Uh,
Yeah. All right. Well, do you think we should wrap up?
yeah, I think we can wrap now. Um, we should make a Wholesome Bros of Horology limited edition. Oh, we've
I
spoken
agree.
about that, haven't we? Doing custom stuff.
Yes, we
That's
have.
um, that's like our close friend group on Instagram. Um, Chip, who was on the podcast, is a member. Um, yeah, that would be funny. Like just case back engravings would be cool. But
Yeah. Imagine we can get
yeah,
something on the dial and then, one of
we have the
us
people to do it. Like Tip could do it. I have a few watchmakers who could do it. Yeah, it's definitely achievable.
extremely limited. We got to get data graphs that
That'd be
say
5. Oof.
Wholesome
Yeah,
Bros.
yeah. Get a custom dial ordered. That'd be dope. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Cool. Good to speak to you.
Yeah.
Always fun. Um, yeah, let me know if you buy those Seikos. I guess we can update next week if you did. Um, yeah, I think it'd be good for business. I think it'd be a good move.
I
But
agree. And
cool.
I haven't taken photos in a long time, honestly, so I'm kind of excited to do that.
You gotta get going. Yeah. All right. I'll wrap up. That's been episode 5 of the 12 GMT podcast. A little unorganized. We had to do it last minute. But I hope you still enjoyed. I enjoy making these. It's really fun.
Me too.
Check out the links below. We have our Instagrams. We'll have my website. And yeah, have a great week. We will be back next week.
Sweet. See you guys.